YouTube, hey, it's Casey Dimon here, TaxSaleAcademy.com. Thank you so much for joining me on this recording of the Tax Sale Podcast. As always, if you enjoy listening to podcasts, be sure to find us over on TaxSalePodcast.com. It'll link you up to your favorite podcasting platform, and make sure you subscribe to us there. But of course, if you enjoy YouTube the most, by all means, you can watch us record the audio portion of this podcast. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Tax Sale Podcast, where tax sale investing is made easy. I'm Casey Dimon, a tax sale veteran, expert, and trainer, author of the Tax Sale Playbook, and founder of the Tax Sale Academy. Thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast. And as always, at the conclusion of this podcast, if you're looking to learn more about investing in tax-defaulted real estate, head on over to TaxSaleAcademy.com. That's TaxSaleAcademy.com. And while you're there, make sure you pick up your free copy of the Tax Sale Playbook, the ultimate guide to buying and selling tax-defaulted real estate, and we will get it shipped out to you. Today's podcast is a very special episode. We'll be discussing the top 3 barriers to entry and how to overcome them in today's podcast. The truth is that tax sale investing really only has 3 barriers to entry, and they can really be overcome rather easily. All right, let's go and get to those 3 barriers. The first one is going to be the most obvious one, which is money. When you're investing in tax-defaulted real estate, you are doing just that. You are investing money. And for a lot of people, this statement alone is enough for them to run in the other direction. Yes, it takes money to make money when it comes to tax-defaulted real estate. But hear me out. First off, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. You don't need $50,000 or $100,000 or anything like that to get started. If you don't believe me, just listen to the podcast titled Best Day of My Tax Sale Life. Even though that was an abnormality, you can really understand by listening to that it is fairly inexpensive in some parts of the country to invest. Now, inexpensive could mean $10,000, $5,000, $1,000, or maybe even $500 or less. Different parts of the country cost different amounts of money, but opportunities do exist out there. And secondly, it actually doesn't even need to be your money. While it makes everything very, very easy just to be able to stroke a check, you don't really have to invest your own money if you don't want to. There are loads of ways to buy using OPM or other people's money when you don't want to invest your own or don't have your own to invest. You were talking about things like Visa and MasterCard. Allow them to finance your purchases. Maybe bank loans, partners, put together a fund of some sort, or maybe have a retirement account. You can invest using that. So there's definitely ways to invest in tax-defaulted real estate without needing lots of money or truthfully really any money at all. The second barrier that I hear a lot is the time investment. Yes, tax sale investing does take time. There's just no way around it. I wish I could tell you that one day you can decide to be a tax sale investor and the next day you magically wake up with a large bank account. It just does not work like that. It does take time. It takes time to obtain the auction list, to research the properties, to place the bids, to attend the auctions, to market those properties, and to sell those tax defaulted properties. But, and it's a huge but, if you know what you're doing, you can do everything so efficiently that you can do it part-time. You can do it on the weekends, the evenings, or whenever you have spare time. If you want to invest 40, 50, 60 hours a week into it, by all means do that. But if you have to work a normal job and you can only just part-time, just a few hours a week, you can absolutely make it work. There are plenty of ways to easily obtain tax sale lists online. Guys, we live in the age right now where we can log into the internet. We can get so much information very, very easily. We can research those properties on a variety of different websites very, very quickly. We can use Google Maps to get aerial views, and we can also use Google Street View to get like a drive-by visual of the property. From there, we can even hire people to help us with the inspections of the properties. We can hire runners for us. We can hire people to bid for us. You can oftentimes even place proxy bids online just by clicking a few buttons. If you can buy properties online, you can also sell properties online, which is incredible. There's so many different ways to sell your real estate online using all sorts of different internet marketing techniques. You can almost sell them just as easily as you can buy them online nowadays. Guys, it is so easy to make time to become a tax sale investor if you want to. In fact, I can almost guarantee that everyone listening to this podcast right now has a few more hours in their schedule every week that they can dedicate to their tax sale business. Guys, if you want to invest 40, 50, 60 hours a week, my most successful students are the ones that invest all their time into tax sale investing. They drive all these different auctions and research all these properties, do all these drive-bys, that kind of stuff. But if you only have a few hours a week to invest in tax-defaulted real estate, you can definitely make it work if you learn how to use that time efficiently. The third barrier is probably the most crucial one, and that is knowledge. Tax sale investing can be a very complicated business. I was at auction just a few days ago, and there's a very, very nice older lady talking to an older gentleman. And it was quite obvious they'd never been to the auction before, and neither one of them actually knew if they were selling tax liens or tax deeds. Now, unfortunately, they didn't buy anything and didn't have any questions or anything like that, but the fact of the matter is, at every single auction, there's these same type of people. The problem is that the county is just not out there to educate you. They are not in the education business. Now, some counties will provide a fairly simple introduction to the tax sale process, and if you're lucky, they might even have a frequently asked questions type page, but most counties, they don't want to provide too much information to you. They're afraid that they're going to say something that's incorrect, or their city attorney just said don't say anything at all because we don't want to be liable for what you tell people. I always enjoy it when I read a tax sale list, and at the very bottom of that list, it says contact a private attorney for any questions about tax default in real estate. The deal is, guys, that I have a lot of attorneys that are friends of mine, and none of them know a whole lot about tax default in real estate. Because why, right? You know, if you have a real estate attorney, they are on the basics and maybe a few pieces of the law, but they're not going to be as well versed as a lot of the tax sale investors that attend these auctions. And the reason is there's no money in it for them. Besides maybe clearing the titles and stuff like that, you don't really litigate a tax sale property, or anything like that. The county has to follow the law to the T. The county does their job, they follow the law, so there is no room for attorneys to benefit from the tax lien and the tax deed process. So they just don't know a whole lot about it. Obviously, you can pay them $250, $300 an hour to dig through the laws and kind of decipher some stuff for you if it helps you out. But the fact of the matter is, you need to get an education. You need to learn what you're doing before you do it, and that is certainly a barrier to entry. Now, I've been doing this a very long time, and I know that there's some other information out there on the internet that will supposedly teach you how to invest in tax default in real estate. Unfortunately, a lot of this information out there is just not true, right? There are some good resources that are available, but you're going to have to sort through a lot of junk. Another way to get this knowledge is through experience. Get involved, research properties, go to auctions, learn about properties, just get started in this business. Get some of that experience, and the more experience you have, even if you actually don't invest your hard-earned money, maybe it's just like play experience or pretend experience, whatever you want to call it. Guys, this is a great way to learn. Then obviously the last way is to get formal training from somebody who's been involved in tax sale investing for a long time, who's invested in many different areas, and who has done it through all sorts of market conditions. If you can find a person like that in your hometown to help mentor you, do everything you can to get involved with that person. Take them to lunch, buy them coffee, do whatever you can to learn from them. Now, if you can't find this person, that's obviously the exact reason that we created the Tax Sale Academy. When I started, I could not find that person. For many, many years, I couldn't find that person, and it took me so long to figure out what I was doing to gain this knowledge. In the Tax Sale Academy, we've got 10 training-packed modules. We have action plans, spreadsheet downloads, workshop recordings that are absolute gold, live weekly workshops for our Academy members. We discuss everything that you need to know, including how to find and use different funding sources for your investments, how to become involved if you're short on time, how to research properties efficiently, and of course, we teach you everything about tax sale investing. There really isn't a better resource for tax sale investors than what we offer at the Tax Sale Academy. So there you have it, guys. Those are your 3 barriers to entries and the ways to overcome them. We have the time, money, and knowledge. Once you have those 3 things down packed, you can easily get into tax sale investing and start earning money from tax defaulted real estate. That's it for today's podcast, guys. If you'd like more information on funding your investments, using your time more efficiently, or of course, the detailed trainings on how you can become a successful tax sale investor, be sure to visit us over at TaxSaleAcademy.com. Again, that's TaxSaleAcademy.com. And once again, while you're there, be sure to get your free copy of the Tax Sale Playbook, the ultimate guide to buying and selling tax defaulted real estate. We'll get it shipped out to you. All that we ask is your help to cover the shipping charge. Before I sign off, guys, I'd also like to ask you a favor. We provide loads of completely free trainings for you guys on our podcast, on our YouTube channel, on Facebook, and on our website. All that we ask is that you subscribe to us. And if you like our podcast, please give us a positive rating or some feedback to let us know that you're enjoying the content, that you find it useful. That way we can continue making more of these training videos and podcasts for you. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.